State and federal authorities met in Melbourne today as part of National Cyber Security Week. The talks come as households across Victoria grapple with the problem of internet and face-to-face bullying. Police are now investigating whether one person is behind a spate of so-called gossip sites that give access to the details of thousands of teenagers. Cheryl Hall has our report.
It's been a week of cyberspace discoveries for many schools in Melbourne.
When I did the search and typed in the Northcote Goss, what actually came up was Reservoir Goss, Ivanhoe Goss, Kew Goss, and a range of other suburbs and schools. There was certainly one for Fitzroy, Melbourne Girls had one, Scotch has got them.
It was the Ivanhoe Goss site that escalated public concern. It contained allegations of sex between students and teachers and girls trading sex for drugs.
There's been no suspensions, no expulsions, no punishments whatsoever for the 5 girls who have been identified at Ivanhoe Girls Grammar, or the boy actually who started the page, I believe, from Ivanhoe Grammar.
The site was closed down quickly last weekend, but not before it spread to various school communities. Students from Ivanhoe Grammar and Ivanhoe Girls Grammar, Marcelin College and Vermont Secondary College had joined.
I received an email from an ex-student early last week. Was the first I knew about it. So at that stage no one else in the school community had alerted us to it.
What was on there?
Just inappropriate comments, comments about staff, comments about students.
Vermont Secondary College Principal Tony Jacobs was so concerned about the contents of the site, he advised his staff not to read it.
You're caught between a rock and a hard place. You want to let your staff know that it's there, but the minute you do that, they might go on and read it and get upset by the content.
Marcelin College Principal Mark Murphy was equally shocked after being alerted by some of his own students.
I think that these things have to be happening in other places, and I'm aware, anecdotally, I've spoken to a number of other principals from around the state in Catholic education and in other sectors, and they're suggesting this is something that's happening across the board.
It's bullying and harassment. In fact, it's its worst case, because it's this anonymous, I'll just say what I like about anybody and whack it on there and send it out.
This week in Victoria, bullying became a crime punishable by 10 years jail. It was the result of relentless lobbying by the parents of 19-year-old Brodie Panlock, who committed suicide after workplace bullying. Federal parliamentarian Bill Shorten wants Brodie's law adopted in all states, as well as tougher federal legislation for cyber crimes.
I think the Victorian government's given a lead. I think every other state in the Commonwealth should do so. The Commonwealth does have more powers here. We use our constitutional power around telecommunications, and I know that the federal government's working on tougher standards and tougher penalties for cyberbullying.
As more and more schools have begun to investigate the gossip sites, the principal of Northcote High School, Kate Morris, has been working with the police to try and find out who is behind them.
It seems to me there's the FAD controller in a room who could be, in essence, controlling a whole range of sites and is a voyeur on a whole range of young people's, therefore, Facebook sites and who they are and what they do.
This controller could be quite a sinister person, could be a pedophile.
Absolutely. It could be someone that we don't want any of our students or children to be associated with, and this certainly is a real sort of spider web of connection to a whole lot of young people across Melbourne and probably globally as well.
IT expert Dr Mark Gregory agrees the only way to ensure children are safe is for parents to actively monitor what their children are doing online.
It's very difficult to stop information being put onto Facebook, because Facebook doesn't monitor everything that's being put on there, and no other organisation is empowered to monitor for cyberbullying.
Victoria Police say they're attempting to prosecute the perpetrators of the recent gossip sites in Melbourne.
If they can be identified and if we can establish that they've actually committed any offence, we'd certainly do that.
But police admit their role depends on the public reporting offensive sites.
A lot of the sites are locked down. You've got to be a member of a group to actually get access to the material, and so therefore we'd have to go and join a whole range of groups on the off chance that we might find some inappropriate comments.
It's not only Facebook that's causing concern. Northcote High has found about 60 of its students, mainly girls, are members of another site called Formspring.
Formspring's, I hate to say it, even more insidious than Facebook, and it's a chat site for young people where they connect and essentially comment on each other's actions, behaviours, on people they don't know. It's absolutely brutal, and it represents exactly what we don't want any young people to be involved with.
Cyber safety is now a top priority for many Victorian schools, who are investing huge resources in educating students and their families.
I don't think it's possible to control the sites, because as we close down one site, something new is going to come up. I think what we can do in schools, and what we're well placed to do in schools, is to educate young people as to the real dangers of being involved in these sites, both morally, ethically, but also legally.